So, hey guys, welcome to the second stream here. I've got Tobi here with me. I just want to get an indication from the chat if somebody can hear, if you can just see if you can hear me, if the audio is all right. And then Tobi, you can just say hello as well. We'll just see if your audio is good as well.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
So we'll just give it a minute. But yeah, if someone, I'll just wait for recognition, and then if someone can just tell me that my audio is good and Tobi's audio is good. Perfect. Thanks, Angel. Thanks, Star. Perfect, guys. So welcome to the first cross-Atlantic MG athlete stream. So it's been a bit of a struggle. Spent the last 24 hours trying to get Skype up and going and to accept the video and accept the audio. So if everyone can hear, I'm happy for that. And if there are any issues at any stage, just put it in the chat there, and I'll try and iron it out. And then we'll go from there. So I'm just going to give everyone a short indication of what I want to do or what the point of this is. So Tobi really reached out to me after I posted some of my videos. And this is kind of the point of what I want to do. Because I've had a bit of success in recovering from myasthenia, I want to share information that I think can help other people that are trying to get their health back. And it was very cool that Tobi actually reached out to me and said, I want to talk to this guy. I want to know, what did he do or how is he doing things? So that's how Tobi got in contact with me. And when he first messaged me, I was pretty overwhelmed. I was just super excited because this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people to be able to share the information. And although I've had, I felt better or relatively better for a while, I haven't been able to pass that on to anyone because it's such a difficult story to explain to people. It's not like a 10-minute convo and it's over. It's a long-term thing. So it's very cool that Tobi reached out to me. And then I thought, let's get Tobi on to have a chat. Let him tell his story. And hopefully it's a good marker. So if he wants to come on again in the future, then we can compare how his symptoms were now, how he was feeling now, and really, just be able to give him a before almost to his after coming later. Yeah, it says my video is a bit slow, so if there is an issue, if anyone just lets me know, otherwise I'm just going to keep going. And then after that, I think Tobi and I actually haven't really chatted much. We spoke a bit on the phone last night, but we thought we'd actually save some of our questions that we've been wanting to ask each other. We'd save it for the chat. So we thought that would be quite cool, is we could, get that chat going with each other. So we'll do questions for each other. And then to end off, we'll do a bit of chat questions. So if anyone in the chat wants to ask Tobi something specifically or wants to ask me something specifically or our opinion on a matter each individually or together, we can do that. So to get going, I'm going to hand over to Tobi, and then he can just tell his story. I might prompt him a little bit, just if there are some questions, I think some information that would be useful. But otherwise, I'm pretty much going to let Tobi take the floor and then talk through his story or his journey to myasthenia. So welcome, Tobi. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for originally reaching out to me.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much, Ross. Because man, I just want to say thank you first for even allowing me to even be here and allowing me to even talk to you about what's going on in my life. Because when myasthenia hit me, it was something I didn't understand, and I've never gone through. To me, I never had any health issues until then. But it's something that has been building up in my body for so long, and I didn't even realize. But I just want to say thank you for even taking the time out to even talk to me at that point, because I really needed guidance on what to do. But my journey with myasthenia started about 2.5 months now that it's been, and I noticed a little bit of I noticed I was getting tired. I just noticed I was getting tired and I was training for the season and I noticed my weight numbers were going down. So first of all, I started benching it was about 285 pounds on a bench for about 5, 6 reps, and I just thought, because the way it works for me is I just keep going up in weight every week to try to reach my max, to just try to max out and see what happens. Then all of a sudden, I think it was a week before I went to Tennessee, I just noticed my numbers kept going down. So I went from 275 to barely doing 265 to 240, and I just kept going down. So I thought it was a rest thing. Maybe I just needed some rest, or I just needed some rest, I guess. So I decided to rest for a little bit. I still felt the same way. I was feeling very cloudy. Like my head was cloudy. I had headaches, and I just felt out of it. I just knew something was going on, but I didn't understand what exactly was going on at that moment. So I decided to take a trip to Tennessee. I went to Tennessee to see some of my boys. We just had fun, over the weekend. That probably didn't help too, because I barely got any sleep during that trip. And came back to school. I think about 2 days after that, came back to school to get ready for the football season, because I play American football here. And when I came back, I still noticed I had the same symptoms. I tried to sleep it out after driving and everything. I tried to sleep it out and just try to rest and use medicine, because I thought at first maybe I just had a migraine that was going on for so long. And I went to the hospital and they told me the same thing. They couldn't figure out what was going on. They thought I had a brain tumor or I had something going on with my head or something. So for the first week, I was getting shots. It was like shots for headaches and stuff at the hospital. And I didn't notice any difference, so I still felt the same way. Then one day I practiced. I put on my headgear, I put on everything, my shoulder pads, and I ran outside, getting ready to practice and, go on with the season. And all of a sudden, I just noticed I started seeing double. And I tried to explain to my coaches, but they didn't understand. They thought I was faking it or something, or maybe I got hit or something. But I knew what was going on. This wasn't normal, because this was something that's never happened before. So I decided to go to the hospital again, and they did a CT scan for me, and I did an MRI to check my head, and everything was clear, and they still didn't know what was going on. And then after a while, then I had an appointment with a neurologist, and it's really hard to get to see a neurologist out here in America, because they schedule, I don't know what's with their schedule, but it's so backed up to where I needed to see one, but they said they gave me a date for December. And I was like, well, I can't wait till December. I need help right now. So luckily for me, I got to see a neuro-ophthalmologist, and I went there for the first week. We ran a couple of tests on me just to make sure it wasn't something. And I think after a week going back, and she saw my eye drooping and she could see everything, she was like, yeah, this is a typical symptom of myasthenia gravis. And from there, that's how I got my diagnosis. And at that point, I didn't even know what myasthenia was. I had no clue. I had no idea. I didn't know what to do, how to go about it. And the first thing I went to was go to the internet, of course. That's where everybody goes to get their own diagnosis or whatever. So I went there, started reading about myasthenia, reading about how to manage it and stuff. And the information there is not, so far from what I've seen, it's not necessarily accurate, because it's not, this is such a rare disease that a lot of people don't even know about. A lot of people, even the doctors, even my doctor doesn't necessarily even know the details about it. She just tells me, oh, I might need a disectomy, and if I get my thymus gland removed, then I'm gonna be fine. And I'm like, no, there's got to be a reason why it started in the first place. There's got to be a reason why this is happening, and if I could probably correct that, then my body should heal itself, because I'm looking for optimum health in the long term, not just getting rid of something or a gland in my body and going back to the same habits that I have or whatever that caused it. So there's not a lot of information.
Cut you for 1 sec there. Sorry, man.
Okay.
I think the signal's pretty low, so I'm going to see if I can just adjust something here.
Okay.
If that
Sure.
makes it better. Thanks, Carmen, for giving me a heads up. And if it is bad or does improve, guys, if you can just let me know. I might keep it on this split screen view. It seems to buffer it a bit better. So even if I'm on the screen as well, sorry guys, but yeah, Tobi, you can carry on there, mate. Hope this goes a bit better.
Oh, it's no problem, man. I could talk forever about this. but yeah, just it's just not a lot of information out there, unfortunately. Then I started joining groups on Facebook and started looking at people, seeing what they're experiencing, and man, I tell you, I started reading about what people were going through, and I'm like, you know what? I might as well just die or something, because this is not for me. Because as an athlete, I've never been in a place where I was having double vision or I was feeling weak, because I've always technically been in control of everything that's going on with me. So it was really it was a bummer for me, because I just didn't know how to deal with it. Then I started obviously going on Facebook, started talking to people on Facebook, and from what I was reading on Facebook, it was all about medicine and disectomy and all that stuff. And I'm like, well, I know one thing about medicine is medicine just relieves symptoms. That's what it does. It doesn't necessarily help you in any way other than relieving your symptoms. It doesn't help you long term. So I needed someone who obviously had been through it and maybe recovered or just found a way to manage it to where they could live a normal life or whatever. So then I met Ross, and we started chatting it up, and he just showed me, stuff that I needed to see, and we discussed about long-term health, which is, something that I'm very interested in, because all this time I've been, like, the way I've been eating and the way I've been living, I guess, because it's I don't know, it's different here in America because we got fast food everywhere and everything. So we just grab whatever we need at any time because it's convenient, and that's how I've been living. Even that's, I always thought I could always get away with that because I'm an athlete. Because I run, I jump, I lift, I run. So I'm fit, so I'm good. I always thought I could eat a burger and I'll be fine. So, but now I see that it's not even that way.
And this is something that, if I can jump in, was that I think
absolutely.
You're seeing a lot of things, and it's like you're saying, because you're an athlete, you need more nutrients, and it's like people think, it's just about weight, and it's just about are you fat or not, and you think, same for me, I'm not an athlete, and that's part of the reason why my thing is MG athlete, to prove that someone can go from not being athletic to becoming healthy and athletic. But the point is, just because you're thin, someone says, oh, you must be healthy. The doctors will say, well, you're not a candidate for thyroid issues or whatever, because you look fine. Other doctors said to me, you can eat whatever you want. You're lucky, you have a fast metabolism. But it's not a good understanding. And if I'm allowed to ask Tobi, I mean, he's going through the symptoms in the beginning. I mean, he's going through the raw stuff now. And I first said, Tobi, you're wearing the sunglasses for style. And unfortunately, the sunglasses are not for style. So he's going through the double vision and the droopy eyelid. And I thought, I'm not going to ask him to not wear his glasses. But if he wants to show his symptoms, just to show people that, it's real and what he's going through, it's difficult.
Absolutely. I'm going through the myasthenia. As you can see, I've got tape in my glasses.
Move it quite slowly, Tobi, just so they'll pick it up.
Okay.
Focus almost.
And as you can see, my right eye is droopy and very weak, so it's really hard to even look to any direction, and that's what gives me double vision. And for the glasses, I just got tape on it.
so it doesn't affect me. And keeping my eyes closed this way, it just takes a lot of energy. So I just try to leave it open, and the glasses helps. So I'm still going through the rough stages right now. I mean, it's like you said, the doctors, they call it, what's it called, ocular
Oh
myasthenia at
yeah,
this point.
ocular myasthenia. Yeah, even though your bench is like
Okay.
half or whatever, they'll still call it ocular.
No, but they still call it ocular. I know. See
Yeah,
what point? Then it's general.
yeah,
but,
yeah.
but
And
yeah, I'm
so
still.
basically, Toby, you can just give everyone, for the guys that don't know you, you're studying at college at the moment, and what's the dream or what's the plan for you before myasthenia hit you?
Um, for me, like it's always been about even coming from Nigeria, because I was born in Nigeria and I moved to the United States on a scholarship to play basketball before I got into football. And for me, it's always been about making it through athletics. So I play American football, and the dream for me was to take this to professional level. Go to after college football, go to the NFL and play. And make money and live right and help people and help my family. But at the moment, right now, that everything that I've had planned for literally my whole life is on pause because of my asthenia.
The other thing I can say is it's amazing for me how positive you've been. Like, yeah, every time you reach out or message me or whatever, I say, how's it going? You say, yeah, it's good. And I think, yeah, it's for me, it's really cool that it's that's not like, yeah, myasthenia. You see a few groups and whatever, and it's not hating on them. It's just a desperation that people are in, where they say, myasthenia ruined my life, or myasthenia did that to me. And my response is, myasthenia didn't do anything to you. Unfortunately, you're unhealthy, and therefore you got myasthenia. If you didn't know, whatever,
But
that's an argument. I'll understand, but it's, yeah, and for me, it's admirable that whenever you've spoken to me, you're like, yeah, this is not. I've never heard like this. This is not fair, or why me, or this is rubbish. I just want to play football. Yeah, it's just like owning it and saying like, yeah, I'm going to take a step back, and I got to get my health, because that's what I've lost.
absolutely. I mean, and if you, because the way I look at things, I look at it from a big picture perspective. Because I've been through a lot of things in life already to know that some things will happen, and it just depends on how you manage it or how you react to it. So for me, when it happened, I was at that point. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie to you. I
definitely
was
to an
at that point
extent.
in the
Yeah, yeah,
to where, yeah, like like, oh my God, what's going on? I just wanna, like, God, why? Like, I'm about to start. I'm about to play. I'm about to do big things with my life, and all of a sudden, you're just gonna hit me with this. It's not fair. Da da da. But after a while, I started realizing that, what, this thing that is happening now is because of all the things that I've done to myself and my health so far compiled together, and it's giving me a warning sign instead of killing me. Do you get me? So that's how I
yeah,
look at it now. It's like,
definitely.
okay, this is body telling me that, okay, you need to fix some things instead of just going through the same motions and looking for a quick fix. So I'm I met you because, and I'm glad we talked about that, because at the end of the day, like, for me, it was all about long term health. I didn't want something quick, or I just want my double vision to go away so I could play now. I wanted it to be fixed. Like, I want this to be fixed. So yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, I wasn't playing on my phone. They're just trying to get to Instagram live, but I get too distracted, so I'm just gonna leave that for now. Uh, just going to cut away for a second there. If you are watching this and you do have myasthenia, if you are interested in further information, like Toby did, you can reach out to me or reach out to Toby. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can head over to MG Athlete. Yeah, and from there, I'm going to be posting more myasthenia stuff for now, and then broader into more general health, bit of thyroid issues, and then into health and wellness as I get healthier. I want to push away from disease and obviously into optimal health. So yeah, if you are interested in that sort of content, if you're interested in these streams, let us know in the comments. Give it a like. All this sort of feedback just allows us to know, yeah, we should do these chats, and it's really valuable. So any feedback, please give us good feedback, and subscribe if you are looking for for more of these sorts of videos and more information on myasthenia and health in the future. So just a recap for those that have tuned in now, hosting Tobi on the show. Tobi out from the States. I'm sitting in almost Cape Town, South Africa. Tobi's just running us through his story. Basically just said how he sort of got diagnosed. Fortunately, had a fairly quick diagnosis. Some people really struggle for a long time. I'm not saying it was easy, but yeah, it's at least he has a diagnosis. He's on medication, and yeah, now he's looking at trying to take back his health. So I'm going to cut back to Tobi, and he can carry on sharing his story with us. So Tobi, how are you doing now in terms of class, university, and football practice? What's on the horizon for you now with the diagnosis?
Well, as of right now, I can't, participate in football at the moment. I can. I've been going to practice and just watching. My coaches understand what's going on. They understand it's a autoimmune condition, and they understand. At least I feel like they understand the basics of it. Unfortunately, my trainer for the school doesn't understand what it is, what's going on. But that's a whole different story. But for classes are going pretty good. I mean, it's sometimes it's really tough to wake up in the morning and get dressed and go to class and listen. I don't know what it is about myasthenia that just allows you to not be able to focus. I don't know what it is about that. I don't know if it's because of the eye. I don't know what's going on inside me. I have no clue, but for some reason I can't really focus in class, and I've noticed I've been having a lot of anxiety issues. So like when people get too close to me, I don't know if it's because of the eye. I don't know. I just have so much anxiety and all that kind of stuff. But I've been working on that to try to overcome that and stuff like that. But football is going. Like my team, they doing all right. Coaches are doing all right. Football is going pretty good for them. But I just sit there and watch, man. I just sit there and support, because at the end of the day, that's my team, and I got to be there anyway. And classes are going good. I've got one more semester to graduate junior college here in America. So for now, I think, and I'm pretty sure that I'll do good. I'll do good and I'll graduate.
And then what happens for those that we don't know? Say you graduate, you're still eligible to play football next year and the year after, or what's on the table for you to still try and come back and try and make it? How much time do you have?
Well, the way college athletics works here in the United States, I think you got 4 years of eligibility, depending on what you have going on during those times. That's what's going to determine how much more years you have. So for me, I played college football last year, so that's 1 year gone. So I've got 3 more years, and I've got this year that I was supposed to play, but I didn't play because of myasthenia. So that gives me an extra year because I'm medical redshirt, and a medical redshirt is basically when you say you just get hurt or you get sick and you can't play, but they're not going to count that year against you. So for now, I still have after this season, I still have 3 more years of eligibility left for me to pursue my football career.
And then just to confirm, you said when you say this year, you mean starting in December or January, or when does the year start for football?
It starts football for the year starts January. Everything starts January in the spring when you train and stuff, but the season doesn't start until about August, September. You train for about 8 months to play games for about 2 months.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And so just to get the dates for everyone, when were your first symptoms of myasthenia, or like when were you just discussing earlier, telling your story? When did you first have the symptoms? Like what month was it in 2019?
Well, I'd say my first symptom would be
like when you went back to Tennessee. What dates was that?
This was trying to get the date. I'm trying to get a ballpark number. Um, I'd say I started feeling symptoms of it in late, I say late July
Okay.
or mid July. That's when I started getting symptoms of it.
Yeah, in the comments, yeah, they're telling you it was August, Toby. So yeah, so July, August. I'm just saying. Yeah,
July, August.
yeah, just roughly.
It's
But
about
thanks for that in the comments. So
that.
yeah, I'm just trying to get a ballpark because for me it was very similar, and I think it's one thing. Not that I'm not athletically gifted like Toby, but it's I think it's the one advantage guys have in general of getting diagnosed is that if you're doing push-ups or you're doing weights or something, you've got an indicator. So for me, I knew that I was doing 6 push-ups and I was just like, there's something wrong. You're not like you're disabled because you're still doing the 6, but it's like a normal guy, at least is not overweight, is hitting, solid 15 push-ups, at least. Otherwise, something's wrong. So when Toby noticed that his weights are going down, it's just not normal that you're 20% down in the gym on a day. It just doesn't happen. So
It doesn't.
I think that's how I got my symptoms as well. I just went, chest weakness along with double vision, droopy eyelid, boom, and I got myasthenia on the internet quick before the doctors even had anything. So I was fortunate in that regard as well. Toby, just to tell you, it's your sister, B. She says it was August. So you must get your story straight there, man.
Yeah, we just go back and forth like that. That's
Yeah.
my sister.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Thanks for joining. It's really cool. For me, it's been really awesome. Like, I promise you, when Toby messaged me the first time, I had goosebumps. Like, for me, this is just exciting because if I want to do this one day, or now, why one day, where I can help people or go into health coaching or life coaching, it's like, yeah, what better story could it be? I mean, my story, I try to make like a comeback story, but it's a made up. It's like, yeah, let's pick some random task or whatever, or weight that I want to lift and see if I can go from nothing and lift that weight. It doesn't really mean anything. If Toby hits his story, he's going from right off to football, and that'll be a story. So that's what really excites me. And maybe it's also difficult for me because it's the first time where I don't feel the symptoms. So every other time I had to be the one explaining symptoms to people, but I knew what was going on with myself. I could feel it. This is now when Toby, I'd say this, or I would do this, or I would look into this. I don't have the feedback. So it's the first time that I can't feel what's happening, or I don't feel the tide, or I can't see the double vision. So it's pretty difficult to sit on the other side now, but at least I can relate. And I think that's what was cool for you, Toby.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've been through it. I mean, you've been through the whole process, and you know what it feels like. And you're blessed to be sitting on the other side. Because trust me, it sucks.
But at the same time, like I wouldn't bet against anyone. Anyone who's committed, I wouldn't bet against doing it in a shorter time than I did. And it's not to be rude to anyone that's struggling still. It's just more to show like it is possible. And I think that was all I wanted to share. My story was show it's possible, and then guys like Toby can come in and score the touchdown. It's not for me. It's for me to just say
Absolutely.
like, yeah, this is possible, and then other people can come in and say, yeah, I read a book, put it into practice. You can read the book and you can put it into practice. And one thing I have to say is I mean, Toby's about 10 years younger than me, so I turned 31 this week. I think Toby's 22 now, right, Toby?
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, he's shown an extreme sense of maturity. I know he said he's been through a lot and he's had quite a journey, but yeah, I was pretty immature at that age. And if someone said I had to take a year off of football, or I could go for an operation and possibly play football by December, I'd probably I can't say that I would have taken the long-term approach. So I'm really encouraged with how level Tobi has been about this, and yeah, I'm really excited to see him push for long-term health and just keep that maturity. Like football, I'm super keen for you to play football again, but ultimately your health and the people around you and whatever, that's unfortunately it's more important than football, even though football is life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot, And the way I look at it too is, I mean, you're right. Some people probably would take the short-term approach, and just try to get it and just fix it and just go. But at the end of the day, like I feel like you just have to look at things from a long-term perspective. At the end of the day, like whatever you do, like this could be something that I could learn now and save my own kids from going through the same thing. That's how I look at it, or save somebody else from going through the same thing, And that's why your story, when you posted what you posted on Facebook, that caught my eye, was the fact that like, how did this guy do it? He didn't get an operation. He didn't do anything short term. He worked himself long term. And I remember I was stalking your Instagram pages, man. I was stalking your Instagram, just looking at what was he using, what is he doing, going crazy on it. But just to see that someone could do it, for me, that's what I was like. You know what? If he could do it, I could do it.
And that's
how I just.
So if my friends are watching, for anyone who's thinking, what's the point of me doing these videos? Or for example, last week's live stream, it was a bit long. What was all that detail necessary? And I knew when I got diagnosed, I wanted to know detail. I wanted to know how much of this medication did you take? How long did this happen for? And like Tobi's saying, stalk the Instagram. It's literally, that's why I try to put my push-ups and my pull-ups on the day that I do it. So it's like, you can say, there he did 1 push-up, but it took him 6 months before he got to 2. But then after that, he accelerated a bit. Then he plateaued, and that's what you can go back and look at my thing. I went, no push-ups, 1 girl's push-up. Then I had a bit of a spot there. I got to 3 push-ups, and I was super excited. And the thing with me, why I said in one of my videos, I didn't cover up my symptoms. I think you can probably check the description box or add it later, my symptoms video. Why I didn't cover up my symptoms is because then I got even more feedback. So the one thing that symptoms is giving you, as I mentioned, is it's telling you that something's wrong. So if I'm doing something and the symptoms are going away, something's working. And it's the opposite of if your symptoms are coming on stronger, something's not working. So it's like it needs to change. So I knew I could keep changing, and when this was working, I needed to double down on that and push on. And it hasn't been quick. I mean, I thought when I did my first girls push-up, I thought, oh man, folks are going to think I'm a fraud here. I'm going to lift this weight next week. and yeah, I'm sitting 4 years later, and I just did 2 pull-ups, and I'm like, woo. But it's like, when I do those pull-ups, I'm like, it's raw. There's no medication. There's no that's as bad as it can get for me, because I haven't done anything. That's just health that's come back. It's not like I trained for that. And that's what's amazing
Absolutely.
for me. So even before, I wasn't an athlete, I wasn't strong, couldn't do pull-ups, but now all of a sudden I can do 2 pull-ups without any training for how long. So it shows that your body is, when it's healthy, it can do more stuff physically.
Absolutely.
And just an indication, Tobi, what's your, not to run too much detail, not everyone's football or gym loving, but what was your sort of deadlift, squat, bench, and then what did it fall to? Because I would be interested in that myself. I'll try to convert it to kilograms for normal people.
Yeah. That's the American people. But my bench was, I was pushing about 355 for my bench, 355 pounds. So in kilos, I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, so that's
about 160 kilos. Yeah. That's it. And I was trying to build up to 405, which is like the staple. If you play football and defense, that's like the staple to show you're strong or whatever. I never hit that though.
Must have been Myasthenia.
But for my squat, absolutely. For my squat, I hit Still on the bench. At the moment, I could. The other day, I went to the weight room and I hit, was it 225?
So
225
you've lost
pounds for
about
two,
50% or whatever. Almost, yeah.
almost, yeah. Just yeah. So I hit 225 for about 3 reps, and that's something I could do 20 to
Yeah.
22 reps of.
And
You
to
know,
give everyone a
before.
sort of indication, I think it's, and after
Yeah.
those 3, you're probably not good for any more after that. It's not like you can recover and then do more.
I know yeah, you feel
Yeah,
fatigued, and even the next set, terrible. It's just everything just
yeah.
goes
I
downhill
try
from
to
there.
I try to show that in
Then
a video as well. Also with the push-ups, is even when I was pushing bigger numbers, I got to like 11 push-ups. Straight after, then I can do 3, and then third set naught. So it just shows it's almost like a lactic acid buildup and just tanked. Once you're
build
empty,
up, yeah,
those muscles are gone. So just
absolutely, and
just
that's
to
how it
give
is. It's just like you can't
people an
contract it.
indication of how it feels. He still can move decent weight, not for football, but for a person. So you wouldn't say he's disabled, but it's the fatigability of myasthenia, and that's the issue. It's like people don't understand how you can get a disabled parking permit, but you can walk. But it's if that fatigue hits, it's like you're done. It's not, and it's you can look normal. You might not have an eye symptom, but your legs and whatever could give in. I mean, for those that are watching, you search some of the myasthenia videos on YouTube, and you'll see some people that are really struggling, and you're on the full medication, but you're still getting overrun by those symptoms. Yeah,
Absolutely. It's when I see people who go through that, it's I don't even know what words to use to describe it. It's just heartbreaking. You see people who could barely take steps and could even walk, like people just fall.
yeah,
And like that one video you shared with me, it's just heartbreaking, stuff like that. And I try to convince myself, from doing a 500-pound squat to I could probably hit 315 for a couple now. I just keep trying to be active just to make sure. Like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing in terms of that, but for me it works. If I go to the gym and I squat weights, just to make sure at least I'm working out the muscle, but at least it could be
there is some it's stuff that I want to learn more of too. So there is some stuff I know now. Like yesterday I just threw around a rugby ball with mates and kicked a bit, and my body is a bit soft today. So it's because I'm now office job as well, I'm sitting the whole time. I'm not moving through those ranges even. So it's not like it's important to move, even if you almost go through the motions and don't put yourself under too much pressure. So I think in that regard, it's definitely good to still be active and to move. And then there's also benefits of holding on to some of that muscle mass, and if you can get the testosterone benefits as well from still squatting or deadlifting without too much stress hormones. But that's a long story. But I understand. I wouldn't feel that you're doing yourself a disservice by moving. Obviously, I just watch overdoing it, and the first thing I sort of said, I wouldn't personally do any endurance exercise, so I wouldn't be looking at getting out of breath at any stage. So if you're sort of doing isolated compound movements, that's not a true. If you're isolated training or compound movements, then I think that's good for you. And then just playing, just getting outside with friends and having a good time is really important.
Very, very important.
So we've got on to 45 minutes here, so I don't want to go on for too long, but I'm enjoying this. We've still got quite a few people watching. So you guys just keep saying it's struggling for signal, so just keep letting me know in the comments, guys, if it is lagging a bit or if you guys are still enjoying it. Tobi really told his story, so if anyone who's tuned now and hasn't heard it, he's finishing up at college, and he's got a couple more years or 3 more years to play football, and he got diagnosed with myasthenia about 3 months ago. So Tobi really looking at the long-term play, trying to gain back his health if he can do it in a year or whatever, and give himself a chance to play football, but really with the focus of pushing his health first, and then anything else he can do that after that is a bonus, really. We've got a couple questions in the chat. Tobi and I have sort of informally asked his questions to each other, but you're really trying to see the guys that are watching if you have something specific, because Tobi and I chat to each other almost daily or every second day. If he doesn't message me for a couple of days, I get a bit worried. So yeah. So yeah, there's a couple of questions in the chat, Tobi. I'm gonna read them off to you because you don't have them in front of you. But Star says, I'm assuming you know Star. Star says, what are you doing now to treat your symptoms and work toward remission?
Well, first things first, I'm taking out stress, because I feel like stress played a very, very huge role in why my myasthenia came at this moment, because it's all relatable to me, because during the summer, that's the hardest I've ever worked on trying to perfect my craft in terms of football. And I don't think it was just the amount of time I was putting in the weight room or on the field or just running and getting in shape. It was also recovery. During the summer, I don't remember any day that I didn't go to sleep after 2 a.m. and wake up at like 8 a.m. So that didn't work for me. It was building up stress and stuff like that. Another thing for me was, so at the moment, I feel like a very, very, very big part of why why it would present itself in your body, or why it would come on so fast. But another thing for me is obviously diet. Diet is literally everything, So for me, I was eating Chinese food, to Wendy, anything you think of, I was eating everything. It's crazy how you so far, and it's actually working for me. I actually feel better than I felt before. So I feel like diet. If you focus on diet and you focus on taking away stress, I feel like those are the two main things that cause my myasthenia. I feel like, because say for example, like for me, me and Ross, we've discussed this a couple of times, was taking away saturated fats from my diet. Taking away stuff that have saturated fats, unsaturated fats like nuts and seeds and vegetable oils, and because I used to live off that stuff, fries and burgers and all that kind of stuff that was not necessarily good for me. To me, diet and stress is what I would try to correct. Going through myasthenia, that thing to take, that has worked for me so far.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in that just not to confuse anyone, but yeah, for me, I mean, I passed on some of the information to Tobi, and that's kind of what I want to do. I'm not here to tell anyone what to do, because yeah, I've just done my own story, and I found a couple of old books, some really good articles following a biologist or nutritionist that writes many different articles and research sort of papers. And for me, it was pretty, the same sort of things keep coming up, and polyunsaturated fat is one that's come up a lot. And that's basically, as Tobi was saying, is the vegetable oils. So there was a bit of a scare with everyone saying saturated fat is bad for you, and butter and meat and all these things are very bad for you. but it's since the 1950s really that it's really expanded, is this polyunsaturated fat, or mainly vegetable oil, that's coming up in fast food. And I think it's really cool that Tobi can be honest and say, you know, like, I wasn't eating that well, because I thought I was eating well. And it's so empowering if you say, you know, I wasn't doing this right, because I can change that. But if you say, no, I'm doing it right, then you can't change anything. So for me, the fact that Tobi goes, yeah, I know I was told, you know, I'm an athlete, I can eat whatever I want, I just need calories, you know, I don't need nutrients. And I think that is the problem. And you're seeing, it's something I'm pretty curious about, because there are a few guys that are popping up with myasthenia, and there are quite a few, you know, athletes or sportsmen, or whatever, relatively, I'm saying, that are popping up. So it's something that I want to investigate. What is going on there? You know, is everyone getting in too many calories but too few nutrients? And then specifically, why are certain nutrients not coming through? Is it those diets? You know, those sort of takeaway fast food, pies and chips, or burgers and chips, or, you know, all of that stuff that's just deep fried. And South Africa is not too far behind America with those things. You know, we're following the same trends with that. Everyone wants to be big like America, and yeah, it's the same thing that's happening out here. So I definitely think, yeah, for me, I focused a lot on food, and maybe I could have focused more on lifestyle and health. And yeah, I just, you know, went a bit crazy with food and like try to get everything so particular. But I think if you can stay in your sort of community and keep that support, keep your structure in terms of going to class and going to football practice, even if you don't play, but you get outside, you keep moving, I think you've got a better chance to keep making progress. The problem is when you isolate yourself, you withdraw, you end up inside a bit more, you're sleeping more, you're just a bit more depressed, you know, a bit more despondent.
Absolutely.
Then it gets really tough. So for my approach is, I said, faith, nutrition, and healthy lifestyle. So I believe my body is healthy. I didn't want this thymus gland or organ taken out, because I believe it's got a purpose. Believe that it's supposed to be healthy. If I eat right, I'm going to be good. And then lifestyle, lifestyle's ongoing for me. It's, you know, it's, as Tobi said, your mind, you get a bit anxious, you know, all these sorts of things. Is it because you're just self-conscious of your symptoms? Yeah, it could be lots of factors. So yeah, there are lots of things at play. And then there's one question here, I think it's your sister again, Tobi, says, can you guys share more on the symptoms apart from blurry vision and migraines? So if you want to go for it first again, Tobi, and then I'll just pick up off of what you don't say or what you don't experience.
I got you. Well, symptoms. The first thing I noticed was just general weakness. So I just noticed my numbers were just going down, obviously. Then another thing I noticed was a brain fog. So I just had this constant fog in my brain, like constant. You know how you have a tiny pressure headache and it's just there and it's just nagging, but it's the whole day. I had it the whole time for some reason. So and at that point I didn't even realize what was going on. I just thought I needed rest. Then obviously the droopy eyelid, that's a sign. But I didn't even get the droopy eyelid at first. I had my double vision first, so then droopy eyelids, then I noticed my eyes were always twitching for some reason, just start flickering by itself. And what else?
Yeah, I think that draws back to, sorry to cut you, is what I was saying about the guys being able to almost pick up the symptoms slightly earlier just from the numbers. Mm-hmm. So someone else might not have noticed, because they might be, for example, could be as strong as you, but if they're not actively playing football and not in the gym, then they wouldn't know on any given day that it was less. So for me, it's almost like that first warning light just goes off a little bit earlier. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then your droopy eyelid came after the double vision for you.
It came after the double vision. It came I want to say almost about a
Yeah.
week after, started noticing that, you know, it was getting
Yeah.
droopy.
Yeah, for me, it mirrored a sort of similar thing. I remember I did the same with what Toby explained in the beginning. I was working at the time, working in a restaurant, and I was just tired. My eye was, I remember driving home in the evenings. You can look at my symptom video and I try to map it. I was seeing two of everything. So just driving home, just seeing the road twice. And I was like, what's going on here? Like, I must be really tired. So I got a week off, went home to my folks' house across the country, stayed there for a week, you know, just slept, ate good food and whatever, and came back and I was all right, felt better. And then, you know, within a week or two again, same symptoms, double vision. And then my folks said to me, you know, maybe need to go to an optometrist or something, you know, there's something wrong with your eyes. And then one eye started closing, so we thought I had a sty first, and then, you know, but so it started with the eyes for me. Then I noticed the push-ups. But what Toby and I sort of mentioned earlier is that's still just classified as ocular myasthenia because, and the reason it's not getting ocular in general, ocular being eye symptoms and general being body weakness, the body weakness that people have is severe. So if someone can still lift 100 kilograms or 220 pounds, it's a lot, but if they're used to lifting 300, it doesn't come into the equation. Doctors aren't factoring that in because for someone who's got general myasthenia, without the medication, they're not moving. Like you can look in some of my videos when I could barely move off the ground, and that was when I was doing better. I mean, you're struggling to use any of your muscles. I couldn't carry grocery bags to the car. I mean, a few pounds in each hand. I had to stop every 10 meters, put it down, pretend, play on my cell phone, and then pick them up and carry on to the car and take a couple breaks. Other than that, you'll start to see your speech. So your jaw gets pretty weak from chewing and speaking. So you'll hear a lot of people have a very nasal speech, so almost like a blocked nose. And I struggle to pronounce. And when you're eating and then talking, chewing, and warm foods, that's often when your mouth is just done. I mean, at my I think it was my 26th birthday, that was a group of about 10 friends who went for sushi, classic polyunsaturated fat meal. I couldn't speak, so someone would ask me a question, and I went, oh, yeah, oh, and I had to say to them, like, I can't talk to you now. It's, literally, I just couldn't speak. And we used to make jokes like that. It wasn't bad. Like, I didn't mind. But my friends used to say to the waiter, yeah, don't worry about him. He's drunk. So, yeah, the speech is really bad. And other than that, you're struggling to move. So even when I was at the hospital just doing scans and things like that, I couldn't sit up off the bed. So the nurse tried to pull me the one time up, and I couldn't nothing. She didn't have enough strength to pull me up, and she shouted for the doctor, panicking, like, this guy can't get up. But yeah, so it's crazy how weak your muscles get. They're blocked with antibodies, and you're not going anywhere with that. So in that regard, yeah, I'm nervous. Like, it's one thing I really don't want Toby to go down that stage because, yeah, it's not fun. Like, I didn't take some of the medication, and the doctors recommended that I did. And maybe it would be the wiser decision to take some of those medications for a while. But yeah, you don't want to get to that because you can't live in society. It's very, I know there are people, but it's very difficult to manage those symptoms and live a normal life, never mind trying to play football or something.
Life, yeah, because the videos, like you said, the videos I saw of people going through what they went through, man, I can't imagine living like that, especially being independent like myself, just with nobody literally around to necessarily help. It's sometimes it's like when I see that, it's like, man, like I really don't want to get to that stage, so I gotta work on myself.
Yeah,
ASAP.
I think that's the encouraging thing. I must say, when I started, obviously I still made mistakes. So I went on, let's eat some salad, let's do some nuts and seeds. Yeah, and
I
it's
did
like,
that too.
I was like, yeah, I'm doing it right, cut this stuff. And Tobi was saying you want to go vegan. And I was like, I made a lot of mistakes. So it was just, now I'm just trying to get nutrients. And it's like, don't worry about, what's hearsay and whatever. You need some nutrition, and that's what your body's sort of shouting out for. And the encouraging thing is, I think I thought I was eating well and I still deteriorated. But Tobi's in a place where he can have a bit better information than I had when I started. So hopefully that's enough. It's still difficult because the one thing that's quite difficult for me is it's been 4 years of learning for me, and I've enjoyed it. I mean, when I was struggling, I took off time from college and work and things like that. And I just used to sit, eat a meal with that fatigue, just sort of lie on my bed and read articles. And I just used to read and read and read and read. The only person who's read more stuff than me is Tobi. So it's been super encouraging with me when I share a thing with him and I'm like, yeah, do you read it? He's like, yeah, I read the next 10 as well. So it's hopefully he has that information, just a slightly better starting point than me, so it can get better a bit quicker than I did. I'm going to try and do a couple more questions here, Tobi. So if you, I'm assuming this is for me. It says, how long did you deal with the symptoms before you went into remission? So if you want the full story, you can look on my channel for my stream I did last week. It was called From Diagnosis to Remission. So you can head over to MG Athlete if anyone is interested in more information about myasthenia specifically, or autoimmune or thyroid issues. That's sort of what I've gone through. But I want to talk more general health and wellness as well going forward. You can subscribe to my channel, MG Athlete. And for everyone watching now, if you could just hit the like button, pop a comment, all of those things just help boost the video and just help get more shares, get a bit more people flowing to the channel. And that helps us, reach more people and trying to get more myasthenia people part of this conversation, really just to encourage everyone. And hopefully, tell my positive story, and then Tobi will be able to share his story as well. And we can get more people in on that. I'm just going to adjust something quickly.
Where I'd look up stuff on YouTube, but I couldn't find anything, or I couldn't find people to share their experience of what they're going through. And it was if I saw my myasthenia story, it was one of a doctor explaining it, and they necessarily haven't gone through that, or they don't know necessarily what people who have myasthenia go through, so they can't really explain it. So it's
Sorry
really important.
If I cut you for a bit there, Tobi. I'm not sure if I did it right. So if you just want to just repeat that quickly. Sorry if I messed up the sound there, guys.
Oh, no problem. I said, I was talking about how important it is for people for us to make content like this, because it's a lot of people out there that don't know where to go or what to listen to or what to see, because I was at that point too just a couple of months ago, and I was like, looking for stuff on the internet and thinking it wasn't possible, or maybe this is something I just have to live with for my whole life. What causes it? What doesn't cause it? So it's very important to have conversations like this, so people could always come back to it and find it, instead of just looking at generic myasthenia videos like, oh, this is what it is, this is what it is. Okay, what do you do? You correct. Where do you go from there? They don't. They explain to you, just say use Mestinone, prednisone, and you'll be fine. And it's definitely not like that, So So it's important to have content like this out
Yeah,
there.
I hope
Absolutely.
if the video is still right, if everyone could let me know, because I don't know if it got a bit mixed up. But everyone could just pop me in the comments there, just let me know if it's right. But sorry, just to answer your question there, Whitney, how long did it take me to deal with the symptoms and going into remission? Mine wasn't a quick one. So basically, people can get a spontaneous remission from medication or operation. For me, it was a slow poison. So I started feeling, I mean, I got rid of those very, weak symptoms fairly quickly. Like when I started eating well and started nailing that down, and I started some alternate protocol, I then stopped like my chewing difficulties and those things fairly quickly. So I knew, wow, this is improving. But after that, it was pretty slow to get a basic strength and stuff back. So it was about within a month or two that I lost like some of the very bad symptoms like chewing and things like that. But then 6 months to get to, being stable, but, pretty sick, having a shocking eye and things like that. I held on, or I had the droopy eyelid for about a year and a half. And then that went away, but I still used to get a bit despondent. So it even happens to me now. So for example, if I go and, try and do something yesterday and it doesn't work out, I get pretty bummed. Like every time I do something, I still think I'm going to do it. Like when I go and play golf with my mates or something, if I lose, it's like, I don't expect to lose. I still like, I wanted to compete. Yeah. So I still had double vision symptoms that would come back, if I was a bit overtired or whatever, or sometimes it'd be like, I got stuck with that shaving symptom for a while. So all in all, took me about 3 years to get like symptom free, but technically remission after maybe 2.5 years. But remission's a very loose term. For me, remission was just a station on the way to going back to health. It wasn't. People see it as the ultimate prize, unfortunately, and think that that's your ceiling. But what I want to sort of show as possible is remission is not just ceiling. It's just like a stepping stone on the way to health. We're not trying to get remission. I'm trying to never visit a neurologist again. It's not like I'm not going for. Sorry, it's not offensive to anyone, hopefully, but it's like I'm trying to show that we need to look at it for a different answer here. We're not trying to say, let's go for 6-month checkups. Let's go for we don't need to see the doctor because we're healthy. And I'm not saying you mustn't see the doctor. I'm the first to say to Tobi, don't try and do this on your own. You need the doctor. The medication will definitely save your life. You're not gonna be kicking it without the medication, especially in the beginning. So for me, it's long term. It took me about 2.5 to 3 years to go from really bad to remission, but I knew I was going in the right direction. I did try and share stuff initially, but probably better that I didn't. Probably better that I, look fairly normal now. Because then it's an easier story to tell. When I was trying to say, I'm doing better, and I can't even do a sit-up, and people be like, you're not doing better, dude. Yeah. So,
that guy.
Yeah, but I knew because I could feel the difference inside. It's almost like, if you hit your weight again, it's like you'll feel it's I've seen guys' videos as well when they do their first push-up after they haven't been able to. I can resonate with how they're feeling. There's another one. There's a couple here, Tobi. How are you able to stay so positive, Tobi?
Man, positivity, I feel like it's relative. It depends on, where your mindset is at, because I've learned from a very young age to manage situations and understand that, some things they come and they come just for just a temporary time in your life, for a short period, and it's to teach you something about, or to get you ready for the next step, or to get you ready for what's next, and there's no perfect definition of positivity or or perfect example, because at the end of the day, we all go through what we go through when nobody's looking. So I can't say I'm perfect or I'm always positive. But at the end of the day, I look at the big picture and say, you know what, this is happening for me to understand health, to understand true health, to understand this for whoever I'm with in the future, or to understand for my kids or for people I could help. At the end of the day, that's how I look at it, as okay, God is taking me through this thing to allow me just learn something or to get something from this. So that's what keeps me positive, and spiritual stuff, just believing in God and just realizing, some things are beyond your control, and you need to sometimes just allow Him just come in and work. God's timing is nothing we can relate to. We think sometimes it's too late or it's too early, or I've been through times where I thought, like, okay, why is this happening now, like, at this moment where I'm ready. I'm ready to play football. I'm ready. I'm in my best shape. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna do this. But God's timing is always right, because He knows better. He knows what's gonna work for you and where you're gonna go. So that's how I might stay positive. For me, that's what keeps me afloat. Family members and friends, good friends. I've had great friends that have been behind me so far. I can't even count. I mean, they've just rallied around me. I've had great people in my life, and my family, and just prayers and everything like that. Just to try
Yeah.
to stay
I
positive.
think for me, what's amazing about Toby's story is the fact that 2022, he's still saying like, yeah, it's I want to play football, but he's also saying like, I want my kids to be healthy, I want my family to be healthy. It's like, yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
really mature. It's like it's not about you, but it's like how can anyone else after you be healthy if you're not? So it's really positive for me that he's got just a steady level head about that, because it's important. I got another question here from Whitney. Was changing your diet an immediate reflection of how you felt, or did you have to maintain that diet for weeks or even months before you noticed that your diet was helping or hurting your symptoms? For me, well, you go for it,
Um.
Toby, if you want.
Uh, okay. I'd say for me, what happened is, we discussed this, Ross, and I tried a vegan diet for a while, and I felt like I was eating all these vegetables and everything, but I wasn't feeling good necessarily. I was losing, fat, and I was also losing muscle mass. So for me, that just didn't work, because I know how I felt, and it just didn't work for me. So when you introduced me to that, to repeat the whole repeat thing, I started looking into it, and I started reading about, the whole thing about, natural fats and importance. You know, immediately I could feel more energy, when I started on that diet. I don't like saying the word diet, but when I started on that regimen or that lifestyle, to me, a more healthy lifestyle, and something that I could manage and I could afford. With the whole thing with even ice cream, like I told you the other day, like all this time I thought I was allergic to dairy, because anytime I ate dairy, I would break out in hives every time. Um, and I started reading about dairy and repeat stuff, and I had ice cream the other day, and I had ice cream that didn't have the extra, additives to it and stuff like that. And for the first time, I had ice cream and I didn't break out. So, just understanding what works for me and what doesn't work for me, I think is a big part. The word diet, I don't know, it's just loosely thrown out there. And but immediately I could feel changes when I started that regimen
Yeah,
for me.
I'm nervous because obviously, I mean, my thing's been long term plays, so yeah, even that's why when I said someone asked, actually, I didn't get that question. Sorry, Star asked what was the alternative protocol. Why I said that is because I changed my diet. I did a course of chelation, I did some herbal stuff. I did some anti-parasite stuff. So I got better, but I can't say that this part was 50%, this part was 20%, and this part 10, that part 5, and, you know, little things, because there's no proof in knowing that. So for me to tell an accurate picture, I think I just need to say what I did. And maybe 20% of that stuff was hindering me. So say somebody took that out and then did other stuff, but it's very difficult to know what exactly worked and what didn't. I mean, you can look for why things should work, but it's very, very difficult to draw conclusive evidence and say, this is the answer, this has to be it, and say you know for sure why it's doing that. So that's why I'm even nervous to, I mean, people might think I'm sitting on information and not like saying, yeah, Tobi, eat this, 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 and take this, this, and this, and do this, this, and this, and then boom. Because there's no factual, you know, evidence for that. I can try and paint a broad picture, show information, and then you've got to, and even you look at some of Ray Pete's ideas. You have to experiment. You can't, how are you going to react? For example, Tobi's going to react to dairy versus how I'm going to react to dairy. It's very difficult to say. I can't say you must do this or you should do that. Yeah. So the alternative protocol I was doing at the time, I did a bit of heavy metal chelation. I don't know if Tobi's read anything about that, but it was something that at the time I thought, yeah, this is a key part. Where I don't really recommend it now. So it's one thing that when I lay out everything, it's part of it, but it's not something I'll say when I must do now. I also did saunering for quite a long time as well. And I thought at the time as well, you know, saunering, that's an important part. But now I think, you know, maybe it's a bit stressful and you don't really want to be putting yourself through that. So there are things like that. I mean, Tobi and I haven't spoken about some of those things. Just because, yeah, it's difficult for me to say what worked, and well, I can think what worked, and I can try and back up certain things, but I'm very cautious when people say this is a definite, because it's not proof, and it's difficult to prove it. So that's what my thing is going to be about, trying to share the sources of information that I have, try and break down cliches of, you know, this is healthy, or, you know, you must eat salad or whatever as an example of a healthy thing, and say everyone should do it. You know, why is more what I'm getting at. So that was, sorry, to answer, I think it was Star's question, what is the alternative protocol? So it was basically through a naturopath. I did a bit of chelation. So you can look into that, basically drawing metals and mercury, binding those and taking them out your body. But at the same time, unfortunately, you're losing zinc, manganese, calcium, you know, other minerals as well. So it's taking out stuff that might be causing issues, but it's also binding nutrients that you need. And it's actually quite difficult to get nutrients, especially when you're sick. So is it worth sucking some of those out that you might not be able to replace? And especially with myasthenia, manganese. So actually, after I stopped chelation, and carried on supplementing some of these minerals, I managed to get my droopy eyelid and things to go away. Once again, it's just a correlation. I mean, it happened at the same time. Doesn't necessarily mean it's proof of that is the answer. But in the book I read about myasthenia, that was a sort of recommended protocol of taking certain supplements and suggested results. I took said supplements, got said results, but it's not a proof. I mean, it could be placebo effect, but yeah.
Could be. I remember you telling me with the whole thing with manganese, and you know, you sent me the article. You know, you sent me what it was. You sent me the research. You didn't tell me to go do that. You sent me the article for me to go find out if it would work for me. You know. And I feel like that's the big thing right there. You need to find out what works for you. So, you know, what regimen works for you? Is it what type of foods do you eat? What type of foods do you eat that makes you feel better? Apart from obviously the polyunsaturated fats and stuff like that I know is something that is not good for me because I could feel it in my body already. So it's like you said, it's really difficult to explain what exactly to do. But it's all relative to what makes you feel good or what makes you feel better. And that's one thing I liked about Ross too, was he gave me the information for me to go find out myself. So if you really want to find out yourself, there's always sources out there that you could go to, and that's one thing we went through, was the whole thing about manganese, and why could it be a manganese deficiency in the body that causes this, or stuff like that. So yeah, it's always good to have information like that.
Couple more questions. So we pushed an hour, 20 minutes. We still got a decent number of people watching, so I'm going to keep it going. Yeah, I'm not sure how long. As long as there are a few questions, we'll answer them. There's a couple queued up that I'm going to do now. But if you guys are enjoying this and you want to ask more questions, or you do want us to keep going, please comment, because I don't want to drag it on too long. But if we've got a decent number of people watching, I'm good for time. I think Tobi's good for time, so we'll just keep it going for now. But I really appreciate everybody joining us tonight, if you're in the States during the daytime. So just hopefully there's a few Myasthenia people. There's a couple of Tobi's friends, a couple of my friends. So if you are watching some of my stuff for the first time, you can click the MG Athlete Bot logo there in the bottom of the screen, and you can subscribe to my channel. If you are looking for more content, if you would like to reach out to me, you can also find my channel there and go from there. If you do click the bell icon once you're subscribed, then you will get notified when I go live in future. It will just send you a notification if I upload a new video, or if I do go live, then you will be notified and be able to join in the future. The live stream is really good for having the comments, getting a bit of interaction. That's why I want to do this, so that we can get more sort of conversations going with myasthenia people. And it's sort of my way of doing awareness. I think if I can get Tobi to take his sunglasses off again at some stage, just to show symptoms, just to be relatable for everyone. And it's like, yeah, the more people that are aware of the symptoms, there's more people that can, relate to Tobi, relate to myself. And just if somebody had symptoms, yeah, then it is possible. So I'm going to go to Ian's question, Tobi. He said, questions for both of you. Has getting MG changed your life plans, delayed them, or enhanced them? I think Ian tuned in a bit late, so you can just do a bit of a summary of your football and stuff, but you don't have to go on too long there, Tobi.
Oh yeah, I mean it's obviously put a pause on what I had plans for. I had planned for myself in terms of playing college football and going pro and playing in the NFL. It definitely has put a pause to that. I don't think it has put a stop to it, because at the end of the day, myasthenia for me is just my body telling me that I need to change something. So, and then the big picture for me, it hasn't really stopped anything. It's just warning me about what I need to get healthy. And at the end of the day, I wouldn't want this to happen when I'm playing in the NFL, or I'm getting a $10 million check, and all of a sudden I can't move, and I can't have double vision, and I can't see. For some reason, I can't make 10 million anymore. So I need now, so I could focus on my health. So if I decide to continue and play the sport to the highest level, I could at least be healthy and know exactly what healthy means to me, so that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I think, and as I mentioned a few times when I tuned in late, it's just very admirable how positive Tobi is, and it scares me, because I want to see him do so well, but it's like, yeah, it's obviously going to be a tough road ahead. Yeah, it's definitely possible, but it'll be an amazing story for him to make this comeback. For me, has MG changed my life, delayed it, or enhanced it? This is my brother asking the question, but I think he knows that I said some pretty crazy things, and said, like, if I never got sick, I don't know if I would have lived like this life of as importance. I think I would have just been sort of average, carried on struggling through life, just being tired, being accused of being lazy, just not living optimally. I mean, sort of kind of how I feel now. So I've made a comeback, and now I'm back to sort of like average. but this is not where I want to sit. I mean, this is 3 years of just starting to eat properly and starting to realize that, I need to be outside, starting to realize that I need, certain things are positive and certain things are bringing you down in life. So for me, it's only upwards I can see. And it's allowed me to do things like this. I mean, to get onto YouTube, to stay, I want to start a channel to say, like, I'm working full time and I'm going to do this on the side. And I'm not moving like I want to yet. I'm not lifting the weights that I want to, and I've got some goals, but it's just about, I think just when you're healthy, everything's working better. You'll feel better. I'm not saying I'm there yet, but it's definitely much better than I was before. I mean, then there's a question, Toby, I think it's a pretty easy one. Did either of you get your thymus gland removed? What's your story with the thymus gland? Did you have a CT scan? Did you have a growth or anything?
Well, I haven't even done the CT scan for my thymus because of I'm having insurance issues right now. So, and it's just gonna cost a lot. So I haven't even looked into my thymus yet. So for that, thymus removed. I'm not too worried about it because for me, if I do what I'm doing and I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm getting better like I feel like it's something that would go away. I'm not too worried about having it checked. I will have it checked though as soon as my insurance gets cleared up. But I feel like the X-ray is probably gonna do more damage to my body than stuff like that. So at the moment, no, I haven't even looked into it, and I haven't even thought about removing it or things like that.
So for me, I mean, my opinion on that is, like, I understand obviously the insurance issue. It might be useful to have a look. Mine was enlarged, so to say, or I had a thymoma on my first scan. Obviously recommended to have it out. I said I didn't want to. Doctors, understanding, said, cool, your choice, even though they recommend it. And then I had it rescanned about a year or two after that. They said, why are you doing this? It's not going anywhere. And it was smaller. And then I had it rescanned a year later, so 3 years on from the original scan, and it was back to normal. So it's crazy. You can say it's a miracle, or you can say it's nutritional. I don't mind which one you choose, but either way, it's not supposed to happen, but it's possible. So for me, and everyone's like, it might still be cancerous, whatever. It's not. Like, you declare that over your body, and then you take that in faith, and then you make the decision to. It's not like I'm eating to be healthy. I've just found out what is healthy and saying, I'm just going to do that. If I know this is unhealthy, I'm not going to eat it. It's not like I'm missing out or I think this or that. It's like, that's not good for me. Why would I want to do that? So I haven't had a thymus. My opinion on the thymus is, I want people just to explore it more. I'm not suggesting anybody does or doesn't have their thymus gland out, but it's just, the reason I didn't even in the beginning was I saw the stats. It was pretty split for me. It was about a third of people get better, a third of people no change, and a third of people worse. And people are so desperate. Obviously, they're willing to try things, so they'll take the chance. But I'm like, the way I saw it was, if I didn't have it taken out and stuff really went south, in a year's time or 2 years' time, I can get it taken out. If I do have it taken out, and it doesn't go well, there's nothing else I can do. I understand the argument of, it might do something bad for you, etc. I took the option I took, and that's what I wanted to do. It's not someone else to recommend. You can read the stuff that I read. I want to go through it with my senior people. I'm just trying to build a bit more of a following first, so that when I do it, it reaches enough people. And I've passed on that information to Tobi. He really took to it. I was really impressed. So So
and if whoever's asking that question, if they're interested in knowing why you think the way you think, obviously, apart from the fact that you are in optimum health or are reaching optimum health. I feel like, if they want to know what that information is, they can contact you too and read about it and see why they might not want to have their thymus removed or why they want to have the thymus removed, so they could always do that.
I got a question here. I always feel bad, but I don't think I'm going to be able to pronounce this name right. Abdul Rahman, if I've got that semi-close to right. If I messed it up, sorry guys.
That's perfect.
Said, are you 100% okay now? If yes, is it possible for this illness to reoccur if you don't stick to the diet or food supplements you have been taking? That's quite a cool question, because that's hitting the truth there. Sometimes I sort of said, like, maybe I need to get back to a position of maybe that's quite cynical. If I didn't, say I went and ate whatever I wanted to eat or what I don't want to eat it, but say I went and just went all out takeaways, didn't sleep, went back to working a night shift, and stressed myself silly, I would get something. Whether it's myasthenia or not, I'm not sure, but I know that that's a recipe for metabolic disaster and cancer or illness. So it's not like I know I have to eat this, this, and this and take this supplement today, or if I don't do that for a week, my symptoms come back. It's more, I know these are foods and this is nutrition, and I know that during the daytime it's best to be awake and possibly outside, and at nighttime it's best to be in a well-illuminated certain type of lighting area, not under fluorescent lights, etc. Or you need to be sleeping when it's dark. That's your protection from stress. Then you need to move, you need to have mental health. So it's not like I have a rigid, I am pretty rigid just in my nature of not, eating out with people or whatever, just because it's difficult, so I just avoid it. But it's not like I take said supplements said day or it goes south for me. It's more like, in the beginning I was like that. I wrote down what I ate, what I took, and whether it was working or not, I was recording it. But now I'm in a place where I can go out for dinner with friends to in a restaurant where I sort of know the food. I can order something that I trust that they're going to cook it like that in a certain way. I can order Haagen-Dazs ice cream. I can order an espresso. I can order a cool drink that I know, or a juice. And there's certain things I know what's the best of the options available. And there's things that I know now that I don't have to be scared of. It's not like I'm worried that my stuff's coming back. If I'm going to have a period of 6 months of intense stress or something, then I'm going to be worried. But I'm not putting myself in those positions on purpose. I've been pretty fortunate that I've been able to remove stress out of my life a lot. Tobi did talk about stress, but for me, just in terms of your job and realizing what's important and things like that, it's a huge factor. It's very difficult if you're not aware of what's stressing you, and even just the nature of thinking like I'm not good enough or I need to perform or whatever. It can really have detrimental effects on your health. So it's so very deep question. It's not a simple answer. Sorry if I dragged that a bit. If anyone else does have any questions, I think we've answered everything. Once again, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Thanks, Tobi, for joining me as well. It was actually, this is the second stream that I've done. So last week I just did a one telling my story from diagnosis to remission. The point of these is to try and bring my senior people, try and bring the information, and then try and bring, just a bit of a health perspective. So if we don't get any questions in the next few minutes, we might call it there. Tobi, if you want to say anything else, you're more than welcome to jump in now.
I was just gonna touch a little bit on like stress. Like we talked about stress and stress and what it does to the body. And I've been reading a lot, thousands of pages. So just learning about how stress increases cortisol levels in the body, and how that increases estrogen in the body, because all these things, I feel like they all work as one. You know, at the end of the day, it's one body, it's one health. So once something's going on wrong somewhere, it just adds up and adds up and adds up until you obviously you start seeing symptoms. So for me, stress is very, very important, because stress in terms of uh, daily activities, physical stress, and stress also because of what you eat in, because you could be stressing your body out by what you eat in, you know. And I've discovered that for myself, is I was stressing my body out daily because of what I was eating, what I was putting into my body. At that time, I just thought it was just, you know, allergic reactions and stuff like that, but it's really not. It's really stress to my metabolism and stuff that's going on in my body, that's allowing my mast cells create hives and stuff like that. So everything's all relatable. Stress, high estrogen levels, you know, cortisol levels, all that kind of stuff needs to be taken into perspective, you know, that brings about stuff like
I think for
myasthenia
me, it's
gravis.
just so exciting to hear that, because obviously I've just been reading this stuff since forever, um, the last few years. So it's cool that Toby's really just jumped into that, because I have had one or two people reach out to me before, and I've passed on the information, and that was all I heard from them. So it's like someone says, "Yeah, what did you do?" And I said, "Yeah, this is what I did," and they'll be like, "Cool, thanks, bro," and then cheers. And it's like it's not easy, and that's why I try to get Toby on here fairly early, and just to say, get the before photos, because I have some before photos, before videos and things like that, and it's your ideas develop or evolve. You don't, like, if I'd be embarrassed of some, I mean, I wrote blogs in the
Absolutely.
beginning, so some of the stuff there, it's not bad. I read it now, I'm thinking, oh, it's not too bad, but it's like, it takes a long time to understand these things and to learn. And like Toby's saying, a lot of the stuff's so related. And the one thing that really fascinates me, and that's why I'm going to get some guests on and try and get it more relatable, especially in terms of having more women or girls on the channel, just because autoimmune diseases are affecting women, depending on which disease, 5 to 7 to 10 times more than men. So that's something that people aren't talking about, and I think it's fairly astounding. Or if they are talking about it, I'm just not seeing it. And it's one thing that I follow Ray Pete, PhD. He's big on researching women's health and estrogen in particular, and just saying how these stress hormones and estrogen
Exactly.
and things like birth control, and yeah, it's just modern society is just setting up people for high estrogen levels, high cortisol levels, and unfortunately, that seems to disproportionately affect more women than men. So it's one thing, just to
Yeah,
give
man.
just a quick thing to everyone if you are interested. It's one thing I'm really interested in, and I want to talk to a few people about it. Is why are some people experiencing remission or close to remission when they're pregnant? Now, when you're pregnant, your estrogen levels are coming down and your progesterone levels are going up. So it's a
Oh, no.
fascinating correlation for me that you're seeing certain things like estrogen levels changing and people's disease symptoms changing. So yeah, it's really interesting. It's been quite difficult from a guy trying to host that talk, but I think it's something that, yeah, if we can get Toby to share his story, if we can get some other people to share their story, and get Toby to get well, get other people to start doing well, then it's easier to start having these conversations when other people can chime in, and it's not one person saying try this or do this or do this. It's everyone saying, guys, let's look at this big picture of health here, and really taking control of myasthenia, not letting myasthenia control the rest of your life.
Nice,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and estrogen, yeah, it does to me. Well, I can only speak for myself because I'm the one going through it. So, um, from what I've learned too, through Ray Pete, is learning about what estrogen does in the body, and but I could relate to that because all this time, like I said, allergic reactions. I thought that was what it was, but it's really estrogen stimulating my mast cells to create that reaction. And I know I have high levels of estrogen in my body because I have. It's not something I'm proud of, but I do have a little bit of gynecomastia in my in my nipples is where you have a little bit of tissue behind your nipples when you go through puberty and stuff like that. And usually boys it's so a couple of years after puberty, but mine never did. So I already know,
Yeah.
like it's all relatable for me because I could tell, like, I could see my gynecomastia, I could feel it, I
Yeah.
know it, I know it's behind that. So just learning stuff like that, making me realize, okay, this might be something that I need
Yeah, I
to
think
look into.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do,
So
and it's like I understand, and thanks Toby for coming on and sharing your symptoms and things like that, because it's almost if you can break that stigma. Like for me, I've got also just reading Ray stuff and got some clear symptoms of like water retention, like in my legs, like edema, not heavy case, but like if I'm wearing jeans, my one leg is swollen. I can feel it tight on my jeans, and my other leg isn't. And it's like, what's going on there? Why am I having that
absolutely.
water retention? And it's another symptom that Ray speaks about
Hmm.
of high estrogen levels. And it's once again, it's quite interesting. So to bring it back to guys, which I'm quite fascinated by, and I think that might relate to sport and to stress from sport, and even building your testosterone levels from lifting weights. I think your estrogen levels also come up. I'm not totally clued up on that, but if you don't have the right androgen balance or blocking aromatase inhibitors or something like that, then you're going to have also higher
Yeah,
levels of estrogen. So it
yeah,
is something to do with that stress, and that's, I mean, I'm here to learn as well. That's the whole thing. If we can get a discussion, it's not. I'm not here to say I know everything, because yeah, I'm here to learn and also trying to improve my health, but at the same time trying to just pass on information to other people of where to look, or to look deeper and be able to get away from medication and struggling and things like that. I mean, like I said, the medication will definitely help save your life, but there's other things you can do at the same time to improve your health and to ensure that you don't carry on deteriorating by doing exactly what you did before.
yeah,
I mean, we still got 12 people
yeah.
watching, so I mean, I'm happy with that. I can push another 10 minutes if everyone wants to. If you do want to switch off, if you're just staying on because we on, just let me know in the comments, guys. We're really keeping it laid back, so let me know. But otherwise, yeah, I'm pretty interested. I'll ask Toby a couple of questions. What like exactly were you eating, sort of pre-diagnosis or early diagnosis, to what are you doing now? Just curious, because I haven't really asked you exactly what you eat because I'm too scared to.
uh, well, for me, I remember. So before, when the summer started, when I was working out and stuff, there's a guy who I'm not going to mention his name, but he plays in the
I
NFL.
know he
He
is.
plays professional football for the Carolina Panthers, and he um, he was telling me one day, because we work out in the same gym, and he was telling me one day that he was explaining to me about estrogen and what it does to the body and what foods he's been stopping, and how lifting weights and stressing out as an athlete has been affecting his estrogen levels. So he has to take like estrogen blockers and stuff like that, for him to be able to maintain a particular level of, I
Yeah,
don't know, some with hormones and stuff like that. So it didn't even really click.
that's
At that point,
fascinating. Yeah,
I was like, well, why are you telling me
yeah,
this?
that's
Like,
amazing. Yeah,
I don't care. But now to look back at
wow.
it, I could understand what
Yeah,
he was talking about, how much stress put on the body. But in terms of food, before really anything goes. At that point, I was eating anything from fried rice and eggs to fried chicken and McDonald's sandwiches and chicken nuggets, and just I was eating. I was on weight gain proteins that probably did a lot of damage for me, but I was on all that. Just anything I could grab my hands on and just eat. I would eat. But and then I tried a vegan diet thing, and I tried it for a while, but it didn't resonate with me. It didn't work for me because I didn't feel good at all. You know, I did see changes. I did see changes. Positive changes, and I did see negative things too that I didn't want to happen to my body. that were happening. But it just didn't work for me in terms of energy because I needed to be functional. I still needed to go to the weight room. I still needed to lift. I still needed to, move around and stuff like that and not feel hungry all the time. So I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, there are some things in there that just didn't work for me. So coming across the whole repeat thing, just learning how to eat foods that help increase your you almost in anabolic state, And for me, foods like that, I've been drinking a lot of orange juice. People say sugar is bad, but
Represent.
it's not bad. From what I've seen, represent orange. Haagen-Dazs ice cream is my staple now because I've been looking for every reason to eat ice cream, and finally I got one, and I ate it, and it didn't break me out, so I'm happy about that. Stuff that's not, I don't eat the nuts and seeds. I used to eat chia seeds almost every day before, flax seeds, all that kind of stuff, tree nuts and stuff. But one thing I noticed though is when I ate those nuts and seeds and stuff, like my eyelid is it's down right now. But when I ate the seeds and nuts, like it'll completely shut down.
I struggled
for some reason.
I struggled a lot with nuts, like even like soaking them and dehydrating them and roasting them and everything. I think one of the things when I stopped doing that, nuts and seeds I think are super difficult for especially ill people to digest. Because your digestion's already wrecked, and now you're trying to eat nuts and seeds, which you just can't even digest. Yeah, so that's unfortunately the one thing is I also went to the salad route, nuts and seeds, and I was just like, oh man, why am I getting worse now? I just couldn't understand it. Yeah.
Just stuff like just focusing on saturated fats more. So if I want to have something like sometimes in the cafeteria, or the other day I went to IHOP. It's a breakfast place here in America, and I had him make me 2 hard-boiled eggs, and my steak. I told him I needed it to be fried in coconut oil because they only provided soybean oil, and I was like, I don't want that.
That's awesome. That's the kind of stuff that I did as well. And people think you're a nutter, and it's like, can I get some boiled eggs? Because I know I can't trust what you're going to do it in. So most of the time, I've avoided breakfast because it's like it's an omelet, it's going to be bacon, it's going to be fried egg, it's all fried in something, and it's like I just can't have that. And that's why Ray's bringing such a thing. It's been pretty freeing. I mean, I've only been following Ray's eating not that long. I mean, I read Ray's stuff first 7 years ago when I originally had the blood clot, but I didn't see it until again last year. But it's just been freeing with the sugar. And you read Ray's stuff about freeing. It's so freeing when you realize that if you're not scared of sugar, it's like, then it opens up things with like fruit and fruit juice, and like Tobi said, he doesn't really do sodas, but it's like people think I'm crazy. They knew how well I ate whatever for 3 years, and then they saw me drinking a cola. They were like, "Has this guy lost his mind?" So it's been quite freeing realizing. I mean, one thing I always felt good on coffee, for example, and I was like, especially when I first had my symptoms, I know coffee can go either way. It can really raise your cortisol if you're not fueled correctly. And I think why I did probably feel good on coffee a lot of the time was just raising stress hormones, and then that cortisol, adrenaline makes you feel good. But now, I know if you get it right, if you get your fuels right, enough carbohydrates, enough protein, then coffee can do some good things for you. And one thing as well, I mean, Ian's put in the comments Mexican cola, because America's even adulterated their normal cola by putting like high fructose corn syrup in it. So, and it's the sad thing that's just happened here in South Africa. Our standard cola is also now got sweetener in it, and they've taken a percentage of the sugar out because of sugar tax. We're following a similar route with that. So it's pretty crazy. So yeah, there are some controversial ideas coming out on MG Athletes channel here saying sugar isn't bad for you. Yeah, it's
Sugar isn't bad for you.
Toby's been pushing me to stand up for what I believe in and get my ideas out there. But yeah,
Get it out.
become a
Get
bit
it out.
scared of controversy. But I've also realized you're never going to win the diet argument. I mean, I can only put forward what I do, what I think about it, why I do it, and then long term, like I said, I'm just trying to also, as Toby's trying to hit some long term health, I'm trying to hit some long term health. I just want to enjoy, my life, and it's Toby's younger than I was when I was diagnosed. I knew I don't want to go 60 years struggling. If even if it takes 5 years to sort it out, and I can get 50 good years after that, awesome. But I don't want to sit and struggle for 60 years. It wouldn't be a fun experience.
Yeah,
One thing I wanted to add, though, I think it's quite cool
absolutely.
that Toby was saying. I mean, Toby said he's come over from Nigeria, got opportunity to go and play sport in the States. Um, it's a good I think he can be a good role model to people that get taken in to play sport, not necessarily given nutritional information or possibly incorrect nutritional information. Just get told you need to get big, you need to lift weights, so you just need calories. So
Oh,
hit the takeaway joints, max out your calories and lift. And it's just like there's no nutrients. Put yourself under stress. Put in some stuff to inhibit your metabolism. Yeah, you won't look bad. You've got enough cortisol and whatever to get you cut, but yeah, you're not going to be healthy. And it's also shows that. And one thing I'm
absolutely.
big on is saying that fit people are not necessarily healthy people, and that's a cliche that I think it comes up a lot. Everyone just looks at someone who's fit and goes, or cut and goes, yeah, that person must be healthy. It's like I'm not healthy because I
Yes.
cannot store
It's,
body fat. It's like stress hormones just come in and everything just gets burnt. So that's not a picture of health. Like
mm,
no no one
that's
worries
not.
about the thin person. It's underweight. What's going on with this person? It's the same thing. Just stress hormones, not storing fat, just doing something else. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's I could I could vouch for that in my case because I looked the part. I have abs. I'm cut. I could run. I could jump. I could run. I could do
Yeah.
whatever. Lift heavy, whatever. And I thought that's it. I'm
Yeah.
untouchable. I'm unbreakable. Then hit me, and I'm like, whoa, I'm not doing something
Yeah,
right.
and I think that's also the thing. If you look
you
at the
know. So,
metabolism ideas, and I think it just happened to you earlier, probably because of the stress of the sport, where other people, it happened to me midway through 20s, and it's happening to other people 30 or 40. It's just your metabolism is slowing
hmm
down after 18 or after 20 once you finish growing. And then after that, it's just a buildup
hmm
of these fats and other things and lack of nutrients. And it's just a slow poison. So as these things build up in your body, I mean, some people, they say, oh, but people lived like that, whatever. It just took time. I mean, there were maybe more nutrients in your food before, and now you're just eating more takeaways, more of those fats blocking your metabolism, more stress, and it's just happening, unfortunately, earlier and earlier. Like you're seeing kids with myasthenia, young adults. It's not supposed to happen. The stats are saying women under women under the age of 40, men over the age of 60. Now I'm sitting here, I got it at 25, Toby at 21. I'm not saying they're not outliers,
How
but
does
it's
this
not
happen?
supposed to be happening to young people. You wouldn't think it would happen to a young, football player. So this is also just to bring awareness of, yeah, something else is going on. It's not just a random accident of why it happened. Yeah. So I think coming up for almost 2 hours, I've really enjoyed this. This has been awesome for me. So yeah, thanks Toby for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate the people that tuned in. So if you did tune in, if you haven't given the video a like, if you could give it a like. If you do watch this on repeat or watch it, after the live stream, if you do have any comments, please write them down in the comments below. then I'll answer it, or we'll get Tobi to check on them and answer them as well if you have any questions for him. And then also, if you do have or aware of any myasthenia people or someone experiencing symptoms, you share the video with them. I mean, you can share my channel as well at MG Athlete on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, all under the same handle, MG Athlete. My story itself is really just to show it's possible to be an unathletic character before, get a bit healthy, and then be semi-athletic afterwards. Tobi's story is to be a real athlete, have a lot of potential, get a speed bump, and then really, yeah, I'm hoping that he's going to show some serious improvement afterwards. And I'm excited to see where he gets. And yeah, hopefully we can carry on a good relationship in whatever capacity, and just, yeah, be able to encourage each other. And I just want to see him do well. So genuinely, Tobi, just want to see you. Yeah, whichever capacity it ends up being, I just want you to be healthy and just feel good, man.
Absolutely, I appreciate that, Ross. I really do.
And also just to show people the power of technology. I mean, if some guy in the southern tip of Africa can read the stuff, if you're watching the video, you have access to the information as well. Especially, I mean, a lot of people in the States that watch this, you guys you got access to the food, you've got access to healthcare. It's if you can take control of it, and you can really get it done. So I'm hoping to see in the future more and more people really just, along with taking a medication and following the doctor, something I think you can really just do on the side is clean up your lifestyle and your health, and really just see improvements. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So any closing words for you, Tobi? I'm going to hand it over to you, mate. Can thank your family. I know your sister was here. A couple of your friends, if I mentioned.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you first. Thank you for giving me a platform to share my story. And you gave me and being there for me at the point where I didn't necessarily have anybody to guide me through this process. So I really appreciate you for that, and just for being there as a genuine friend. Just for being there, for really caring about because you could have told me what to do, and that's it, and we don't talk. So, but you're not that guy. You really genuinely care about my health and where I go and stuff I do. So I really appreciate that, and thank you for the people watching, tuned in. Technology is good right now. I was watching a show, I think it's called My Diagnostics, something like that. Where they use technology to try to find or what's wrong with a person. They talk to like a lot of people, and they share the symptoms and try to figure out what's going on. With people who have diseases that people have never even heard about. So technology is good, and I feel like if they could come on here and listen, and listen to the content, see what they take out of it, contact somebody, and just go from there. Like, this stuff is something we should be all facing together as well. So I just want to thank people listening, and thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Tobi. We will chat to you soon. Thanks, guys. Tune in. Might do this again next week. I've got 1 or 2 other people lined up, and then I want to talk through some of those articles that I did share with Tobi. I've got permission to share some of Ray's stuff. It was really cool. Ray replied to one of my emails this week, so I can go through some of his articles, and he was quite excited for that. So that's awesome, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll chat to you soon. Cool, Tobes. Let's cut to the music. So I don't think